you guys. The saint of the week is Saint Catherine of Siena this week. She is an Italian saint, and so part of my challenge to you at home is to do something Italian for dinner here on her feast day. So one of our favorite Italian meals is pizza, and we make pizza from scratch here far more often than we order out. We found that ordering out's really expensive for our family, and homemade pizza, honestly, I like it so much better. The kids do too. So I'm going to walk you through the steps of making pizza dough from scratch, and then I'll send you my recipe for our marinara, which is also simple. We have a family of 8, and so this pizza dough serves our family. We do have little kids, so they don't eat as much maybe as teenagers do, but this for us makes 2 pizzas. So you're going to start with your ingredients here. I'm going to hold up the ingredients list for you. Can you see that okay? And walk you through the process. So the first thing we're going to do is use 2 cups of all-purpose flour. I've been making this pizza dough for probably 10 years, and this is my favorite blend of flours. Although, if you only have all-purpose flour, it's fine. You can scrape the top off so that you get a nice flat cup. And that's 1 cup, and now we're going to go for a 2nd cup of all-purpose flour. And your 3rd cup is going to be of bread flour. You can also make this with all 3 cups of bread flour, and that makes a really nice chewier crust. But we like ours pretty thin crust, so this blend works great for us. So 3 cups total of flour, 2 of all-purpose and 1 of bread flour. The next thing we do is put in some water. I do 2 tablespoons of water plus 1 full cup. And you need to make sure it's room temperature or at least not cold. If it's cold, the yeast does not do its work. I found that the hard way too. The next is olive oil, and we do 2 tablespoons of olive oil. There's some entertainment in the background. And then about a teaspoon of salt, which I just kind of eyeball. I kind of fill it to my fingertips, up to the first crack in my fingertips, and then throw it in there. If you like it to be a little more flavorful, you can put some more salt in. You can also try putting in garlic powder or herbs, dried herbs in there would be really good. And then we need some yeast. I get yeast from a jar. This recipe is very forgiving, so you'll need 1 packet of yeast, or it ends up being 2 and 1/4 teaspoons of yeast. And I just eyeball that teaspoon part of it, or that 1/4 teaspoon. So once again, here's your ingredients. 2 cups of all-purpose flour, 1 cup of bread flour. Can you go ask them to just turn it down a little bit, please? 1 cup plus 2 tablespoons of room temperature water, 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then a teaspoon of salt. Now, the next step for it is to just let the mixer do its job. This is the bread hook, and so it kind of kneads the dough a little bit. With the bread mixer, I found it really is great for getting the dough kneaded enough, and this does not do that. So once we get done with this part, I'll let this bread dough hook work for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm going to actually knead it with my hands. So we'll let this go for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then hopefully come back if I can get this video thing to work, and have some bread dough to work with. So we've let the dough hook do its job for like 2 or 3 minutes in the mixer, and now I'm going to do some work on the countertop. You want to make sure you obviously have clean hands. This is a great job for kids, and you just knead your dough, which means kind of muscling it. Some people say this is a good way to get out stress, so great way to spend some time. And you don't need to give it too much kneading. The pizza dough, I've said before, is really forgiving. And if this was hard, then you would not catch me doing it. So that's it, just a couple seconds there of kneading, and then we're gonna put it into a little ball and then back in the bowl. And then I'm gonna cover it with a towel, get a clean towel to cover it, and I'll leave it for, I don't know, like an hour, maybe hour and a half. And you're gonna look for it to be kind of doubled in size, they say. And at that point, then it would be ready to make a pizza out of. So next we're gonna make a really simple marinara to go on our pizza dough. Again, if you don't like complicated things, this is perfect for you. You might have your own recipe you like to use, or even the jarred sauce is fine. But this is our favorite sauce. It's really simple, and again, very forgiving. So here's the instructions. Well, the ingredients anyway. Now we're gonna start with a hot pot and add just a little bit of olive oil to it. I think Rachel Ray calls it 2 turns of the pan. And then we're gonna use fresh garlic. My garlic is a little bit aged, so it has the weird little stem in the inside. So I just usually take those out. I like whole garlic in pasta sauce, and I also like lots of it. So if you like less or whatever, you can let it cook longer. And then the other way to get it to really let its flavor out, if you like it, if you want, you can either cut it or just smash it, and then it gets into the sauce a little bit better. Cook it just long enough for the onion or the garlic to start smelling good. There you go. Again, clean hands, right? Great project for the kids. And then once it starts to smell good, it doesn't necessarily need to sizzle, but the oil starts to pick up the flavor and the scent of the garlic. And once you can start to smell it, you know you can add your tomatoes in. I typically use a crushed tomato or diced. You can also get at Costco the whole tomatoes, and then you just can reach in and crush them with your hands before the pot gets hot. Today I just happen to have a diced. Diced is my not as favorite because there's so much liquid in it, and I let that cook out. So if you really want a fast marinara, use crushed. And then it takes you like 15 minutes from start to finish. These are diced, so I'm gonna actually let them cook for probably a couple of hours just to deepen the flavor. It's always better the longer you cook them. Nice and low and not too hot because you don't want them to burn. So that while our pizza dough is working, so can our tomatoes. This is a big can for our family. We use the bigger cans of it, and I actually like to make a huge pot at a time and then freeze the extras. I can use that for spaghetti sauces or whatever else, but this is perfect for today's pizza. And we're gonna let this cook for a couple of hours probably until we're ready to make pizza. The other thing I wanted to say is, if you like to add more flavoring to your spaghetti sauce, you can. You can put in whatever you want, herbs and sugar, or whatever, salt. But this is such a great basic recipe. And if you used crushed tomatoes plus garlic and olive oil, the sauce is ready in 15 minutes. So it's very, very fast. Nice and easy. And we're gonna give that some time to work now. Now it's time to start putting the dough to work. We've pulled it out of the pot here and dumped it out. Some people use olive oil for their pan or their rising bowl, but I don't really worry about that. It kind of comes out okay. Just needs a good washing when we're done. Clean hands again, and the dough roll, the big dough roll, I cut into 2. So I use my kitchen scissors and I cut it into 2, end up with, this is half our dough. The other half of the pizza is already in the oven. So in order to start rolling it out, I use cornmeal on the counter, and then I also put cornmeal on the pizza stone. I use cheap pizza stones. I think one of them is from like Bed Bath & Beyond, and they just work really well. I also put a little bit of salt straight down onto the stone, which helps make it taste really good. All right, so we're gonna roll this out. And it's really, really good thin. We've tried it before like a thick crust, and the thick crust is okay. I do want to try it in the cast iron skillet with that, but I like it best. This is really, really good for a pretty thin crust pizza. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can use a wine bottle. I might have one of those around. Again, really thin. We put it right on the pizza stone here, and it's ready for topping. Now, the first pizza I already did, I used my red sauce from that I record. Hey, leave it alone, sweetie, okay? I showed you this morning making a marinara, and I actually let it go for too long, so it boiled down to just the tomatoes. So I put that on the first pizza, which you'll see in a picture in a few minutes. So this one, because I ran out of sauce, I would either go to my freezer where I have marinara saved, or in this instance, Kirkland's makes a really good pesto that's very, very good on pasta and chicken and stuff. So we're going to be using this as our base for assembling this pizza. So you spread it around. Again, my kids really love to help with this, and they are all occupied right now, so that nothing ends up on the floor or too loud. So, okay, pesto all around. And then we do our veggies next. If you're going to do veggies, the family favorite around here is just straight up pepperoni and cheese, but their mother likes to have some vegetables on there. And then there are great ways to make kind of different pizzas. I know this is sort of themed for Catherine of Siena and Italy, but there's other good pizzas to do too. Make sure your cheese is quite thinly sliced, and make sure you choose a block of mozzarella, not shredded. It's just not the same. Pre-shredded, you'll be really glad you chose the block. The other good thing to know about the block is it ends up actually being less expensive than some of the shredded cheeses. So you think you're saving money by getting the shredded, but it's not. This is the really good stuff. The flavor's amazing, and it cooks up really nice. There's a couple of pizzas I want to share with you that we do as a family. Barbecue pizza, we'll put pulled pork or chicken on the pizza. Use barbecue as the base, and on top sliced serrano peppers, and zucchini is really good on there. And what else is good on there? And then at the very end, whatever you put on your barbecue pizza, at the very end, you take it out for a couple minutes and then put fried onions on the top, those French's onions, the ones you pick off of your delicious green bean casserole. Those go on the pizza, back in the oven for another minute or two to crisp up. That's amazing. And then do a search for Papa Murphy's Thai chicken pizza. That's a really good one too. And we figured out how to make that at home. Okay, so then your pizza needs to go in the oven, and it's gonna cook up nice and delicious. I can't wait to see what it looks like. Gonna go in for 435 for about 15 to 18 minutes. It's really gonna be good. Watch for the cheese to get a little bit brown on top, and put them in one pizza at a time, kind of in the center of the oven, and make sure you don't have anything underneath your pizza, like if you keep your cast iron skillets or something, because that helps to cook the bottom to nice and crispiness. All right, let's see what happens. All right, guys, this is it. This is the final version of this pizza. You can see the tomato sauce came together nicely, and the cheese is bubbly on the top, a little bit brown and crusty, which we like, and the bottom should be perfectly delicious and crusty and cooked all the way through. It is very, very hot, though, that you've cooked it in an almost 450 degree oven, so make sure it's pushed back from the kids and give it a chance to cool before they eat it. From here, it's safe to cut it up if you want, put it on plates. Hope you enjoy it. If you end up making a pizza at your house, definitely post a picture, because I think we all want to see what it looks like to celebrate Catherine of Siena in such a wonderful culinary way. Good luck with your pizza.